Yo, what's up, you rational legends, and welcome back to the Rational Farid. So, you know the story of Jesus, right? Son of God, performed miracles, got crucified, came back to life 3 days later to save everyone. Yeah, that whole thing. Hot take. It's not that original, low key. It's kind of mid. We all thought this story is like the most unique, mind blowing event in history. The main character of humanity's server. But what if I told you that the whole crucified God who saves humanity thing was a super popular trope in the ancient world? Like, it was the MCU of its time. Bet. Today, we're diving into the mythology multiverse and meeting the other crucified saviors. This is gonna be legit crazy. Let's cook. Alright, first up on our tour of divine suffering is the OG rebel, the ultimate Chad, Prometheus. This dude was a titan, basically a pre-Olympian god, and he straight up finessed the head honcho Zeus for the sake of us humanity, his own creation. As thinkers like Richard Dawkins might say, this is an early example of a moral axis that doesn't point directly to the biggest god on the block. Prometheus chose us over the divine dictator. He stole fire, which is really a metaphor for knowledge, science, and our tent, gave it to us lowly NPCs. Zeus was not vibing with this. He wanted to keep us ignorant. So, what does Zeus do? He has Prometheus taken to a mountain and nailed to a rock, nailed for thousands of years. An eagle comes every day to eat his liver, which just grows back overnight. It's super metal. Sound familiar? A divine being publicly punished on a high place, suffering endlessly for the sake of humanity's enlightenment. Peep this ancient art. Um, this is Prometheus from like 400 BCE, nailed up, hands outstretched. Vibe check. It's the same pose, bro. This isn't a coincidence. It's a mythological template. Next up, the OG party got Dionysus, or Bacchus if you're Roman and a little basic. This dude's story is wild. Son of Zeus and a mortal woman, Semele. Sound familiar? Just like Jesus was the son of God and a mortal woman. Dionysus gets torn to pieces by the Titans, but plot twists brought back to life by his grandma. He's literally called Dithyrambos, the twice born. Now, you might be thinking, but Farid, he wasn't crucified. L. Hold up. Being torn apart is just another flavor of sacrificial death, and some ancient writers like Lucian absolutely played with the idea of crucified gods in their satires. The core components are the same: a divine son, a violent death, and a resurrection. And get Dishy's followers in their mystery cults would drink wine and say it was his blood, and eat bread they said was his body to achieve communion with him. Bruh, the Eucharist is shaking. It's a classic case of what historians call syncretism, or for regular person words, religions making a collab album and stealing each other's best tracks. The list goes on, my dudes. It's like the ancient world was just workshopping this one idea over and over. Attis, a god from Phrygia, modern day Turkey. He was born of a virgin, dies under a pine tree, and his followers would mourn him for 3 days before celebrating his resurrection. This all went down around the spring equinox. A god born of a virgin dies on wood and comes back 3 days later in the spring. Jit crazy. Osiris. Let's go way back to ancient Egypt. This story is thousands of years older than Christianity. Osiris is the king, betrayed and murdered by his brother Set, chopped into 14 pieces. His wife, Isis, finds the pieces and brings him back to life. He becomes lord of the underworld and the judge of the dead. So you've got betrayal, death, resurrection, and the role of a savior judge. It's the blueprint. The alpha build, biblical scholars who aren't afraid of getting kicked out of the club, like Bart Ehrman, point this stuff out all the time. These aren't fringe theories I found on 4chan, it's just history. The evidence for this dying and rising god myth is overwhelming. As Christopher Hitchens would say, that which can be asserted without evidence can be dismissed without evidence. But here, the pagans actually brought receipts. So, what's the deal? Did everyone in the ancient Mediterranean just have a thing for crucified gods? Basically, yeah. The ancient world was a giant cultural melting pot. After Alexander the Great went on his world tour, Greek, Egyptian, Persian, and Jewish ideas all got thrown into a blender. Stories travel like memes. The idea of a dying and rising god was a powerful one. It explained the seasons, the death of vegetation in winter, and its rebirth in spring. It gave people hope that death wasn't the end. It was a banger of a story, so everyone made their own version. So when the story of Jesus comes along, it's not appearing out of thin air. The writers of the Gospels were cooking, and they used these familiar, powerful mythological themes that people in the Roman Empire would have instantly recognized and vibed with. They were creating a new story using the most popular and effective literary building blocks of their time. It was a marketing masterstroke. So, yeah, Jesus wasn't the only crucified God. He wasn't even the first dying and rising God. His story is one powerful version among many, part of a long, rich tradition of mythology that tried to explain our chaotic world and give people a little hope. Believing the Jesus story is the only true one is like thinking the first superhero movie ever made was Avengers Endgame. It's just no cap. You're missing the whole cinematic universe that came before it. Anyway, that's the tea. If this blew your mind or made you think you know the drill, your payment for this free knowledge is a sub and a like. That's a W. Period. Drop a comment with other religious claims you want me to vibe check. Stay rational. Legends. Farid out.